Hello, welcome everybody. We are starting the final event of the European project DYDAS. Just a quick introduction before we start and we focus on the project. My name is Alessandro Piperno. I'm the program director of the House of Emerging Technology, the space that is hosting this final event. So I would like, first of all, to give you the welcome to this meeting and then give a brief introduction of our activities. This space is a living lab, so it's a laboratory for entrepreneurial and innovative ideas. It's a project financed by the Ministry of Economic Development of Italy and is coordinated by the Rome municipality. I'm the coordinator of all activities, and what we aim to do here is to foster the innovation ecosystem. So basically, we are developing different ideas, different projects in order to sustain the Roman ecosystem in growing. The main activities are related to acceleration and technology transfer. We have selected 5 startups which are working with our technical and university partner in order to develop new innovative ideas for the city of Rome. Now we closed tender for selecting 6 small and medium enterprises, which will work with the universities in order to transfer the knowledge that is developed within the university walls to the companies themselves. So basically, we are trying to develop a new model for the growth of the city, a model that takes in consideration not only the profits of the companies, but the idea that we can foster together innovative smart cities solutions. And I guess this is why we met with the project DYDAS, because we believe that innovation could be an important tool, an important key for the future development of our cities, but of our countries. So I will leave the floor now to the coordinators and the project development of the project DYDAS. So I leave the floor and enjoy this last meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm so proud to open this section of the meeting where our partners will give us some insights about the features and what is DYDAS. So today we end a long journey, lasted 3 years, where we worked hard to integrate a huge amount of technologies and features. And today we can say that a new public HPC platform is born, DYDAS. So tomorrow we will start a new challenge, the competition in the market, with the competition with the other HPC platforms. 4 years ago, when we proposed the project to the Connecting European Facility, our intuition was that in the future, the HPC and the artificial intelligence will be focused on the public infrastructures. So the idea is that the customer doesn't buy on-premises infrastructure, don't develop their skills on the technology, but they buy the service on public infrastructure. And it happens. So today we have a standard de facto that is that the public cloud offers this kind of technology. And of course, we have many competitors. But I think that the specific features that has DYDAS makes us unique in the market and give us a huge opportunity of gain our part of the market. Just three inside. DYDAS is focused on data scientists. So the idea is that the user of DYDAS hasn't the need of know the technology as a general public cloud infrastructure, but can focus on develop their algorithms and their data. The second point is that DYDAS give us the opportunity to share data, information, and algorithm with other users. So when you subscribe an account and you start the project, you can immediately take data set of the third party and integrate them into your project. The third is that DYDAS is a marketplace, so the users can sell data, algorithms, and can define their business plan using our technology. So I would like to ask to our partner Marcello to give us some insights about your contribution. Thank you, Marcello. If you
Thank
want,
you, Gianluca.
we can sit.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. In my short contribution, I would like to provide some elements to put the DYDAS project and platform in the evolving scenario of the geospatial information. We are experiencing now tremendous innovation, technology innovation in the satellite Earth observation area. We have a lot of new satellites with new sensors of every type. We have radar, we have optical, multispectral, hyperspectral, even thermal instruments. And more we are seeing constellations of small satellites, which are changing the game because they provide a much higher revisit of the Earth or specific targets. But in this context, the big game changer has been Copernicus.
Yeah.
Because with several satellites, Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2, Sentinel-3, and Sentinel-5, and now in the next years, these satellites that have been operational since years now are going to be replaced by new satellites with even more with improved capabilities. So and also Copernicus provides information services in the climate change area, air pollution, sea state, land monitoring, emergency services. So we have really an abundance of information that can be exploited. And a lot of users are a little bit disoriented, where to get the data, where to get the information, how to combine this. And this is where DYDAS comes into the picture, because the main purpose of DYDAS is to make different type of data from different sources, of data of different nature, to be harmonized, to be put at the disposal of users of various level of experience in order to be processed, to be combined, and enable the exploitation by different communities. And in this respect, we have got a very good confirmation of interest by the various communities, scientific community, the industry community, and also the public administration at the last year National Conference of ASITA. ASITA is the Italian Federation of all the associations of industry working in the geospatial domain. And they confirmed such interest in the DYDAS approach. Furthermore, the Italian government has decided to finance with more than 1 billion euros the construction of a constellation of satellite called IRIDE, which is being funded through the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. And this constellation is going to be made by more than 30 satellites, again, with all kinds of sensors. And these data are going to be made available for free to all the Italian public administration. So it is a third component to be added to Copernicus and the other geospatial open information, and will be another game changer, or if you want, another addition to make it possible for users to finally be able to have operational services. And DYDAS is now getting ready and is looking forward, like Gianluca has just mentioned, to enter into the operational arena and provide the capabilities of the platform to all kinds of users, from public administration, scientific users, industry, and through B2C players, also to the citizen community. So this is our expectation for the next years, and we look forward to really exciting times in the geospatial domain.
Of course, we will work hard on this topic.
Great.
So, thank you, Marcello.
I don't know if there is any question on this topic, but just to finish,
if I can,
yes,
just as a consequence, we can talk about the geographic data. What I think is that the public cloud hasn't the geographic information as a feature inside their engine. So typically what you do when you develop a similar project is that you start thinking about technology and how to customize the technology to implement those features. Even simply manage the geographical data is an issue because they don't integrate natively the geographical engine. DYDAS embeds all those technology and is ready to use. Is it right?
Yes, absolutely. This is really a major advantage is provided by the DYDAS platform, because geographic data have different formats, have different geographic projections, have different resolution, and have also different times, so different temporal dimension.
Yeah.
So making this data homogeneous, harmonized, is really a big improvement, and is facilitating the access by end users to the geospatial information, which is considered by the European Commission to be one of the few layers considered to be high value. So those data that can really implement the digital transformation, public administration and industry.
Of course, and this is part of the knowledge that your team has bring to the project and to the other part of the team.
Yes, we have worked a little bit at the beginning together with Key2 Business in defining a geospatial data model that has been implemented by a geospatial data architecture.
Yeah.
And then this has been the kind of input block to the DYDAS platform and all the capabilities, the HPC computing framework, and then also the visualization, the dashboard for the results analysis.
Yeah, and probably the other part you contributed is on optimizing the resources. So, for example, if you share satellite data, a huge amount of data, DYDAS is optimized to share the data without duplicating, without any redundancy and the loss of computational power. Is it right?
Yeah, that's also true. And the design of the data lake that has been made is oriented to provide this type of optimization and avoiding redundancy.
Wonderful.
Great.
Thank you very much, Marcello.
Thank you, Gianluca.
Thank you. So, I suppose the next one, yes, Iulian Coltea, our lighthouse, technological lighthouse of the last 3 years. Welcome.
Thank you, Gianluca.
So Iulian, I would like to start talking about the technology behind DYDAS, so the HPC technology, why we are competitive in the technology compared with the other platform in the market, and what kind of selection you did about the technologies.
Lots of questions. So DYDAS was an interesting project because it involved lots of different technologies, different aspects. It has lots of components that uses specialized frameworks. So when we designed the platform at the beginning, we had to make lots of choices based on the technology that was available at that time, the most efficient technology for some of those features. And so we went towards a choice of an hybrid solution to use HPC computing, but remain into a cloud-like architecture because it's more flexible. So in the end, we chose two different technologies, merged them, and brought up a platform that allows to treat everything like a cloud, but underneath it uses HPC enabled technology for the processing phase. So in all the phases, the data management, the processing, and data visualization, we chose a specific technology for each one of them. We got from Kubernetes to Hadoop and big data environment to HPC computing.
I know that we are the first platform in Europe that integrates this kind of technology and the marketplace of data and algorithms. Is it true?
Yeah, because usually there are really few platforms in the world. Actually, not, there are a little. So someone is trying to merge some of these functionalities, but we are one of the first to put together the dataset management, the marketplace. That it's one of the most interesting features. I believe that for DYDAS users, the usage of a marketplace for the dataset and algorithms can be made a value, an asset for a company, for a private that have knowledge on some of the science of the data science and the processing on the same platform. That helps you not needing to go to public clouds, load the data from another platform, load it to the public cloud, then download the results and treat them on a third different platform for data visualization. You can do all of that inside one single platform that allows you to be faster in your development, in your solutions.
Yeah, totally original offering in the market. And you also are the responsible for one of the use cases, the mobility, where we integrated a lot of technology. So we are talking about HPC, computer vision, so deep neural network, edge computing. Could you tell us about the use case?
Yeah, the mobility use case is one of the most promising features that that I personally manage in the DYDAS during the DYDAS development, because it gave out the possibility in this period that AI is actually is actually becoming cool for everyone. Let's say like that. And using AI, in particular computer vision, to analyze almost everything, the surroundings, the infrastructures, people behavior, and things like that, allows you to actually automatize lots of processes that right now are performed manually or are not performed at all, like supervision of the roads, the road state, or supervision of people in crowded places with every risk there is on security. And to be able to do that automatically and to manage that for a public administration or even for a private industry, for example, to monitor all people into their workplace if they are wearing the appropriate protection instruments. And it's actually amazing what you can do with computer vision and AI-oriented technology. So the mobility use case that was actually implemented these features and demonstrate that they can be made, they can be trained to do lots of things. It's like the most interesting aspect I see there.
Yeah. And it is also a good way just to demonstrate how to use well DYDAS. So the idea is a complex technology where I create the model of artificial intelligence in DYDAS, I train it in DYDAS, then I move it on edge. The inference is on edge, but the data is collected on DYDAS, and then I process the data on the platform again on DYDAS. A very complex architecture that I suppose work very well.
Yeah, you introduced some of the main features of the mobility use case, the technical features, the fact that the AI runs on edge, but as everything runs on data. So the AI training, the AI results are all data. So everything must be treated as data sets, as asset. So every data coming from the devices, the edge devices that perform actually the inference for recognizing behaviors, objects, and so on, are transferred back to DYDAS in a continuous way. Lots of, in this case, lots of tools that, for example, the context broker helped to do this process more easily and to standardize the features to be able to integrate, for example, with the smart city of the futures, or the smart cities of the future that would allow exchange of this kind of data on standards like NGSI that allows to integrate all cities or private industries and with cities and so on.
I know your artificial intelligence team also did an amazing thing, that is to train the model on DYDAS, compile the model for a tensorial chip, the Coral, so that you can transfer what has to do the neural network on a very small chip, very, very sustainable from the point of view of the energy, of the climate impact, and so on. And I think that it is a very interesting experiment in the direction of the sustainability.
The entire paradigm of edge computing, its base principle is to go against the cloud-like structure, because you can delegate the processing, and so the energy cost and so on. You can delegate them to small devices, limited devices that has only one thing to do usually. In this case, we managed to do the same thing, not using large servers or large devices, but using a small chip that was produced by Google, Coral, that it's really light, it's really small, and have lots of capability to perform inference. That was kind of the main difficulty for this part of the project, because to manage to adapt some of the AI models to the edge, the edge GPU, the tensorial processing unit, was really difficult because it's small. But we managed to do that, and we proved that in a collaboration with Autostrade and Autogrill, as to demonstrate what you can do with only a USB charge the device.
Thank you, Iulian.
Thank you very much, Gianluca.
Thank you. So I'm happy to ask Giovanni to come here. So yeah, thank you. I just checked the clock. I don't know if we are too late. Okay, thank you, Valeria. So Gianni, thank you very much. It has been an honor to work with ENEA. ENEA is one of the biggest actors in Europe in terms of HPC infrastructures, has a huge knowledge in this topic, and governs some of the most important infrastructures here in Italy, and I suppose in Europe. So thank you again, and I would like to ask you what has been the main interest of ENEA on participating on DYDAS project. So why?
Thank you, Gianluca. And as you said before, ENEA is one of the main actors, Italian actors for computing resources. With our Cresco clusters integrated in distributed environment, providing ENEA grid resources, we furnish computational resources and services not only to ENEA community or research groups, but also for national and international communities in several areas. In this respect, our main focus especially of ICT division that I'm representing here, regards partnership with on topics on data science and artificial intelligence and HPC activities with physicians and other communities. In this respect, DYDAS project is very interesting is a very interesting asset for our activities, and we decided to go in this interesting challenge to provide additional services for communities.
Thank you very much. And I know that you as ENEA did an important decision to support the project for the next month. So to guarantee the availability of the infrastructure, so to confirm the investment and the sustain of DYDAS project. And you'll give us a very important competitive advantage in terms of costs and availability of the infrastructure.
Yes, we want to share results, especially research results, as DYDAS project provides at the end of his activities, in order to provide a spread diffusion of the activities and of the data provided in this. For this reason, we have been mainly involved in two main parts for the project, in the development and designing of the physical and cloud infrastructure that hosts the DYDAS platform that Iulian presents before. And the second one is the use case maritime, providing data and analysis for concrete data and analysis for DYDAS platform.
So it has been a huge use case. Essentially, let me summarize. What we did is to port an HPC model all the algorithms that you use to predict the sea waters. So please explain yourself.
Yeah. Since DYDAS is mainly focused on open data, we want to provide further additional steps in interoperability, providing not only data interoperability, but also platform interoperability. In this respect, we designed a communication model that allows DYDAS platform to execute a job not only on his platform, but also on other partner or other platform that can be virtual or physical both. For this, we tested this key feature in DYDAS project, since we have also maritime use case that is executed on our HPC physical resources on Cresco cluster. And providing a hybrid model of interoperability. But for this, I think I've connected Ernesto Napolitano.
Yes. Good morning.
Okay.
Hi, Ernesto.
So you heard me? You heard me?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, we can.
Thanks.
Okay. Good morning to everybody. May I share my screen, please?
We know Ernesto has the flu, but accepted.
Yeah.
to-
Thanks,
speech,
Ernesto,
so thanks.
to be here and to present maritime use case, despite of the fact that you are not very well in this moment.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry not being there because I am at home with the COVID. Sorry, but I try to share my screen, but I think it is not allowed. Why? So in any case, if I cannot share, I can talk only. Not problem.
Probably. We're gonna ask our colleague the authorization to share.
Because I think I have no permission. So
Try now.
Good.
Next.
Yeah.
okay. No, I have a problem to share my screen. I don't know why, but anyway. So okay, okay. Probably easier.
Yeah.
No. So probably I have a problem with the sharing my topics. So anyway, I can just talk about our activity if it's okay, because I have problem to share my screen. It's okay for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The use case, as Giovanni said before, the use case. I try to share my video, but my image is not very good. I'm sorry. The use case maritime has been a very good challenge for the DYDAS project, because our task was to create an archive of physical ocean parameters. I mean current temperature, salinity, sea surface, and wave characteristics over the whole Mediterranean. So, because this archive was provided resulting from high resolution, very innovative operational forecast model for the sea, for circulation in the sea. They are very easy tool which runs over APC facilities and perfectly integrated with the DYDAS platform. And the use case maritime, I think, was a very good challenge, because they help many activities such as coastal management, marine ecosystem monitoring, maritime planning and governance, the problem of oil spill, save rescue activities, and so on. Actually, so the core business of use case maritime was the development of two basic operational models. One is the METO model, which provides the forecast of the circulation, so I mean currents, and another model which provides the forecast for the waves. They are very complex products, but we experienced a very important activity in the framework of DYDAS, because we gather all information, we run the model, and we provide it in the platform. So together with a colleague of K2, and I think it was a very important opportunity. So we continue to run our model. We have a very happy to continue eventually to give our products in the DYDAS framework. and because I think it is very good opportunities to give to our products very the importance and to valorize our products. I think it's okay. I'm sorry, I cannot share my screen, but this is just a brief summary of our activities in the framework of the DYDAS process. That's okay. If you have a question, I'm here.
Any question from your side?
No,
Okay.
no further question from me.
Okay.
Thanks, Ernesto.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, thank you. And I would like to ask Paolo.
Thank you again.
Thank you. So, Paolo, thank you very much. From links, another very important use case. Please tell us about the use case.
Thank you, Gianluca. Good morning. The use case energy is about renewable energy sources. So because of the energy transition, we are facing many challenges, and one of the challenges is the use of more renewable sources, and in order to do that, we must take in consideration some aspects. One is quickly explaining the grid balancing of the electric network. And it means that the energy produced must be used immediately, and because of the nature of the electric grid. And there are issues with the storage of the electric energy, so namely the batteries, because we must increase the capacity of the batteries in Europe. Also, we need to invest a lot of money on that. Adding more renewable sources in the production of energy, it's of course a necessity, but also because of their nature, they changes the production inside the day, also the season, because they are influenced by the climate and the weather. So the use case energy, we investigated these aspects. So in order to forecast which is the production from energy sources, so renewable energy sources, so wind and solar power, and we compare that with the building and offices demand of energy in order to forecast which is the next in the very few hours. Next few hours, which is the necessity to have the grid balanced.
It is a very important topic, and we demonstrate how DYDAS could be used for this kind of projects.
Yeah, the research we made is based on the single building's characteristics, in order to define which is the electric energy demand for each building. We cover Italy. We use mainly open data to do that, and this kind of data are not because we need basically information on the geometric characteristic of the buildings, such as of course the geometry and the height, in order to calculate the volume, the destination of use, the period of construction. And this data are managed by mainly the regions, Italian regions. And
so public data.
They are public data, but they are not widely available for the whole territory. Some regions share this kind of data, some others not. Some others are incomplete data for our needs, of course. So, for instance, the Agenzia delle Entrate, which is the Internal Revenue Service, I think a couple of years ago share cadastral data, but just as a web map service, which is a display service in order to share data. It's a good step forward in openness, generally speaking. It should be, I would encourage to do more, for instance, sharing data in WFS, for instance, web feature services, in order that the final user can download the data, of course, without privacy issue.
The interesting thing is that all the data you collected are available on the platform. So the idea is that once you select the data, you validate it, you can upload and share with other users. This is the philosophy of DYDAS. If the data is good and is open, could be shared immediately.
Yes, without duplication, of course.
Without duplication.
We share the results. Of course, some results we use also proprietary data, and I take the opportunity to thank Aeronautica Militare for sharing weather forecasts for free for this project. Also CGR, which is gave us the opportunity always for research to use some of their aerial imagery. Thanks a lot. And of course, open data are vital for research, and having that on a platform is absolutely optimal thing in order to perform research.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work. So, last but not least, ANCI. ANCI is so it has been an honor to work with ANCI that represent the Italian cities. So
Absolutely.
it's the association of the Italian cities. So you present the public administration, and I would like to ask you how you contributed to the project.
Thank you very much, Gianluca.
Thank you,
Thank you, absolutely. ANCI LAZIO is the authority, is the association of Italian municipalities, and in particular for the region of Lazio, the Lazio region that represents 378 municipalities. We working to, in particular, to support the little towns, from little towns to Rome. We hosted today here. So thank you all again for this important area devoted to the technologies development. And the mission of ANCI LAZIO, I represent today as a consultant, because the project manager, coordinator, Andrea Vignoli, will be joined more later today. We are particularly proud about the involvement, the engagement process that, for example, I remember the digital participatory process held in last May, where was a very important test for the importance of data and the importance of the solution find together with the citizen, with the expert, and with the other the population in general. I consider that DYDAS is a cornerstone for the digital services. If we consider that the National Recovery and Resilience Plan devoted the 27% to the digital transformation, we are aware that this task is absolutely important, but DYDAS is a cornerstone because it's a little overcome the gap. We don't hidden behind a finger if we state that we have a big gap about the competencies to manage, to create open data. Fortunately, today we will have extraordinary participants, expert of digitalization, for example, from the Digital Agency of Italy, and they started a few days ago a training for webinar session for the entire national area. And I particularly thanks also to them because they teach absolutely the little town, starting from the little town, from people that needs more competencies to also to use these high performing computing services.
We have the opportunity to support small cities, in general cities, to unchain their potential using this kind of technology. And we will do it in the next month together.
Absolutely.
Of course, I would like to thank the city of Rome because we are now here in the House of Innovation of the city. So thank you very much. This is an example of the collaboration we built together. And I hope that we will work for a long time with ANCI in this direction.
So thanks again for this partnership, a little partnership, but very proud to
a very important partnership.
Together.
So thank you very much to ANCI and all the cities that supported us in these months.
So again,
thank you. So I think we have finished. I would like to thank all the technicians, our engineers, and our technical staff that did a huge work for 3 years. I know that you are very tired. Don't worry. Tomorrow we will restart. So thank you. Thank you again. Bye.
Okay, welcome everybody. So we are back to the next session of this final event for the project DYDAS. So now we are going to talk about the institutional topics of the open data with the DG Connect of European Commission, with AgID from Italian government, of course, and with the director of the innovation department of the city of Rome, Mr. Colaiacovo, that is here with me. And the other 2 representatives are connected in remote, so I ask confirmation for their presence. I welcome then Mr. Bodenkamp from the DG Connect of the European Commission. Mr. Bodenkamp.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Good morning.
Can you also see me?
Yes. Can you hear us and see us? Okay. Fine.
Absolutely. Good
okay.
Morning.
Thank you very much for your presence. Thank you also for the presence of Mr. Rizzi, I think, from the DG Connect, and Mr. Rossello We saw them in the participants list before. I don't know if they are still connected. Anyway, so we are very glad to hear from you to hear from you the intervention from the European Commission, and we really thank for the help and assistance during these past years and the implementation of the project. The topic today is open data as a boost for innovation. And of course, as DYDAS, we had tangible proof that open data can help innovation in terms of increasing also the knowledge about what's going on around, and also there is a lot of talking about open data about artificial intelligence that of course needs data to be developed and improved. So please, I leave you the floor to you to know about the latest from the European Commission then. We can't hear you now, I'm sorry. No, we can't hear you now. Okay, maybe.
On mute.
Okay, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
it's sorry. It's I think it's you who decide if I can speak or not. So thank you very much for muting me. First of all, thank you very much for inviting the Commission for myself here for this workshop, or this conference, and congratulations on this interesting project dealing with open data. So my name is Johan Bodenkamp. I'm working for the Data Policy and Innovation Unit at DG Connect in the Commission. We're based in Luxembourg. And I'm very happy to say a few words about our data policy and specifically focusing on open data, as the title is, of course, Open Data as a Booster for Innovation. So I would like to try to share my screen. Let's see if I manage. Share.
Okay, it's
I don't know
starting.
if you can see it.
It's starting. Yeah, we can see now.
Okay, I'll make the view in full screen, and hopefully you will be able to see my slides in full screen. So, open data as a booster of innovation. Now, of course, I cannot, here being part of the Data Policy and Innovation Unit, I cannot start without, saying the legal basis of all our actions, which is the Open Data Directive, which most of you probably know, or all of you, but maybe not everybody. And this, of course, is a very, very important legal action that we have taken since a number of years in order to try to make more data available from public administrations to foster really the availability of open data. So the Open Data Directive is really an instrument to stimulate the availability of open data, and as indeed open data is a booster for innovation, it is also an important competition instrument. Now, you probably know that the Open Data Directive, the name is being used since its last revision in 2019. And before that, it was rather known as the Public Sector Information Directive. Now, with the latest revision already, let's say 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, we have let's say, put forward new elements that I will show in the next slides. But I wanted to remind that this Open Data Directive is really a minimal set of rules that public sector administrations need to obey with in order to make data available openly. However, it does not apply to data that is not publicly accessible under access to information regimes, and that of course not to information protected by third-party intellectual property rights. Now, following the revision of the Open Data Directive, this current Open Data Directive is focusing more on encouraging the availability of dynamic data, because of course dynamic data is really the crème de la crème, right, of data, allowing you to really have very, very good services and products that we as all citizens need, and also encouraging the use of application APIs, application programming interfaces, so that this data can be used and made available automatically between machines, between systems. It is also limiting the exceptions that allow public bodies to charge for the reuse of their data more than the marginal cost of dissemination, and is enlarging the scope of the directive also to data held by some public undertakings and to research data resulting from the public funding already, so that it has already been paid by the public purse. And finally, there's also a strengthening of the transparency requirements for public-private agreements involving public sector information and avoiding exclusive arrangements. Now, the real novelty of those that are aware of the Open Data Directive is the implementing regulation on the high-value data sets. This is really completely new. It has taken a while for those who have followed the procedure, but finally we are very glad to be able to say now that it has been adopted 21 December of last year and published only last Friday, 20 January. So what is this implementing regulation that comes straight from the Open Data Directive? It is a regulation that has data sets listed there that have to be made available for free in machine-readable formats and via APIs, and if relevant also as bulk downloads. This has to be done in the various domains that you see on the left-hand side of the slide: geospatial, Earth observation and environment, meteorological, statistics, companies and company ownership, and mobility. And of course, we're speaking about high-value data sets because it is felt that in these domains, data will have a particularly high socioeconomic impact, and so will be particularly useful and valuable to create added value, to create new services, to create new products. And this is, why we refer to high-value data sets. So, of course, you will first find in this implementing act let's say, the legal explanations, the definitions, arrangements for publications, such as details on the APIs, arrangements for the reuse, the fact that this has to be into force, within a period of 60 months, and that brings us to June 2024. And then there is the important annex, where you really have the data sets or their description and the arrangement for the publication and reuse of those data sets. And I just give, for those that haven't been able to look at it yet, because as said, it has been published only since Friday, a first glimpse of the annex, where you see for this domain of geospatial that you have very concrete, let's say, indications of what has to be made available for this type of data sets. So of course, it is following the INSPIRE logic with administrative units, geographical names, addresses, buildings, cadastral parcels, reference parcels, and agricultural parcels that have been added to that. And then you have granular. This is the example that you see here is with regard to granularity, but you will further down also see regarding geographical coverage or key attributes. So the idea is really that the table is giving very clear indications on the data sets in these various domains, how they have to be made available within this period of 60 months. And the data sets, this list, of course, is not a closed list, or this annex. This is, let's say, the first result, but it can also be decided to build on this list and, gradually enlarge it with other domains. Now, these high-value data sets will be of particular importance for the whole work that we are doing, You see here a slide that is trying to give an image of the work that we are doing in creating so-called common European data spaces. You see high-value data sets on the top right. So this open data in general, but particularly these high-value data sets, will be very, very important for the creation and the functioning of the so-called common European data spaces. Common European data spaces, what does it mean? It means that you will have a technical IT infrastructure that allows you to make data available, to share it and to reuse it, together with a functioning data governance framework. So all the rules that allow you to understand under what conditions you can access data, under what conditions you can share it and use it. So these two elements, data governance framework together with a functioning IT infrastructure, is globally what we refer to as a data space. And you see in the slide that a data space will contain a rich pool of data of varying degree of openness, because of course, the idea is to share as much data as possible under certain conditions. So it includes all the open data that is out there. And with the high value data sets, we will have a lot of additional very high valuable open data available. And but you will also have more closed data. You will have industrial data, maybe personal data that can be under certain conditions combined and shared. And this will be done with the help of a so-called data spaces support center. The end goal of the creation of the European data spaces in various important sectors that you see on the top, health, agriculture, finance, is that gradually we will be able to create a so-called internal market for data, an internal data market, where really data can be seen as one, where it can flow freely across the countries and across the sectors and used under these rules, like we have the free movement of persons, goods, etc., capital. And this is really, our ambition for the coming years. And again, open data in general and these high value data sets that will be made available in the coming months will have a very, very important booster effect there. Now, we have had a first call from our new Digital Europe program, specifically focusing on boosting the reuse and the combination of public open data. And we have, as a first result, 4 projects that have started just now in the beginning of January: Marigraph, Rodeo, Be Open, and OME2, Open Maps for Europe's. So you will be hearing from these projects very soon. And I think it's interesting to point to the fact that indeed in this constellation of creating the European data spaces, we have had this specific call on the use of public sector open data for AI. And to conclude, just a very quick word on, of course, our current Horizon Europe call. It is a call under Destination 3, World Leading Data. It is open since December until the end of March. It's research and innovation actions. We think we can fund 5 of them. So it will be, from TRL 2.3 to TRL 4.5. And you will have more explanations, of course, in the work program. I just wanted to show you very quickly, this is not specifically about open data, but of course, the use of open data as much as possible in these research projects is very, very important in order to bring the research forward. And you see, that the focus here is on processing vast volumes of data, that it is all within the framework of building these European common data spaces. And also you see that I highlighted in the 3rd bullet point the use of the public sector as data providers. And we hope, of course, that that will be as much as possible open data. So this just very, very shortly in a nutshell about our common data policies with creating a single European data market in the coming years. And by doing that, creating these common European data spaces in important sectors such as manufacturing, agricultural, etc., and where the availability, use and reuse of open data in general, specifically boosted by the availability of the high value data sets, is going to help realize this goal in the coming years. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Johan. Very interesting presentation, very interesting information, and I think with our partner, maybe we will have a think to what to do in the next month by the end, before the end of the call, before the deadline of the call you just mentioned. It's very interesting, and also I like to take the opportunity to point out how DYDAS is just the project DYDAS, and so the platform has been achieved, has been released just in time with the approval of the directive, with the the directive in December that, if I well remember from your presentation, needs to be implemented by June 2024. So
Absolutely.
so we have had just 1 year and some months, and maybe our idea, and this is why we are we invited also the national and local administrations to propose also DYDAS as a tool available for free for the next year to play with data on the platform, and to try all the functionalities of the platform for the next months to achieve the results that we expect by the 2024. So thank you very much for your presentation. It was very important for DYDAS.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your follow-up actions, because they will be very important indeed. We all have to work together to make this happen. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we can call on the floor remotely Antonio Rotundo from AgID, the digital agency for Italy. Good morning. Good morning, Antonio. Thank you for joining us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So I think your intervention is very well spotted after the presentation of Johan, and the open data for high value data set. I think is very important to explore how open data can be considered for the high value data set. So please, I'll leave you the floor for your presentation.
Thank you very much. I share my screen now. You can see the screen now?
It's starting, yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Sorry for the presentation in Italian due a misunderstanding, but I will be able to share the presentation in English in the next day if useful, if you planned to publish this presentation. This presentation is linked to what said in the previous presentation by the colleague from the DG Connect, as I will talk about the national guidelines on open data and the reuse of public sector information. And the colleague mentioned the Open Data Directive. In Italy, the Open Data Directive was transposed at the end of the 2021, and a specific article of that decree has assigned my organization, the Agency for Digital Italy, the task for defining the national guidelines in order to support public administrations and other subjects interested, such as the public undertakings, in order to support these subjects to implement the open data directive. The slide show the summary of this document. This document is not published yet because it is currently under the examination of the data protection authority, because we are following a specific procedure set up by the Code for the Digital Administration for this kind of technical documents. And after some introductory sections, a specific section is dedicated to general principle and to requirement and recommendation about common to all kind of data. And other sections are dedicated to dynamic data in order to implement the arrangements set up in the directive, such as the availability of this kind of data through API. Another section is dedicated to the high-value data sets mentioned in connection to the recent publication of the European regulation. And these the indications defined in the national guidelines are aligned with the arrangements provided in the European regulation, as we will see in the last slide. Then another section is dedicated to the research data and the special data that are mentioned several times this morning. And in this section, there is an important clarification between the link, an important clarification about the link between the framework for special data defined in the context of Inspire Directive and the arrangements provided with the Open Data Directives. Then there is a section dedicated to the metadata profile and to to the organizational aspects and data quality, including also the requests that all users can be made to public administrations to open a specific kind of data. And an important topic addressed in the national guidelines are the definition of a specific licensing framework, establishing that the license to be used for open data is the latest version of Creative Commons by that includes only the attribution as condition for the reuse of open data. This in the past years was only a recommendation. With these guidelines, it becomes a requirement. Instead of CC BY, the public administrations and other subjects can use CC0 public domain or other license aligned with the conditions included in the CC BY. Also, in this topic for the license framework, we are aligned with the recommendation made by the European Commission. Another section is dedicated to the tools for the discovery of open data, and we will see a specific slide on this. And a specific annex is finally dedicated to the most common formats to be used for open data, included those ones for high value data sets, spatial data, and so on. The structure of guidelines includes requirements that are mandatory indications for public administrations and other subjects interested. Then a recommendation that is that are optional indication, and for each section is included the box with the useful resources with the reference to other documents, guidelines, technical guidance, and so on, to be used in order to better implement the arrangements set up in the guidelines. This is an example of the requirements for open data, starting by the common requirement for all kind of data. So starting by the definition of open data, that is data machine readable, available in a machine readable and open format, accessible on the web, free of charge, with an open license and with related metadata, starting from the definition and with the reference to the 5 stars model that provide a classification of the level of openness of data. The requirement, the basic requirement is that data shall be made available at least at 3 stars level. And in case of more formats, then at least one of these formats shall be conformant to the requirement I mentioned before. The recommendation is for the public administrations and other subjects interested is to go towards to link the open data, because this kind of data are more easily readable by machine and so on, as we know. I talked before about metadata and tools for the discovery. This slide shows the standard to be used for metadata that are standard extending a European metadata profile, such as the DYDAS or the Inspire metadata regulation. The important topic is that the 2 portals managed by AgID, in order to allow the discovery, to enable the discovery of the data for spatial data and open data, are these 2 catalogs are interoperable, in the sense that the spatial data that are also open are to be documented only in geodata catalog, and automatically the metadata are available also in the national portal, in the open data national portal. As I said previously, the guidelines provide some recommendation about the organizational aspects, such as a model of the step to be followed to open data. This is the model recommended, with all the steps to identify data, analyze it, enrich it, modeling it, and so on. And this is an adaptation of the similar model suggested in the data quality guidelines published by the Publications Office of the European Commission. As we know that after the national guidelines will be published, not all the data available in the public administration will be able to make to be available due to technical or economic issues. Then the public guidelines recommends to define some priorities in the openness process. And the criteria suggested for defining these priorities is to take into account, first of all, the categories of data identified in the Open Data Directive as data that have a high socio-economic potential, such as dynamic data, high-value datasets, research data, and so on. Then the public administrations are required to take into account the requests made by the users about the data to be opened, because we are sure that data will be reused. And finally, the last kind of data to be considered in this the priority are the data that whose publication is mandatory by law. Finally, to conclude, the slide show the relation between the national guidelines and the regulation published some days ago, and that was explained in the previous presentation. As I said, the national guidelines are aligned with the arrangements provided in the regulation. We have also included some specific actions in the national 3-year plan for ICT that was published 3 days ago, and these actions are related to implement the arrangements of the regulation in order to be ready when the regulation will be applicable in June next year. We have included in the guidelines also a mapping between the arrangements of the regulation for all the categories defined in the directive, and the requirements and the recommendation set up in the guidelines to show how the regulation can be implemented by simply implementing the requirements in the national guidelines. Also, we have included in the guidelines the plan to define a specific guidance suggested also in the regulation, in order to provide public administrations and other subjects interested with the operational indications for the implementation of the regulation. And finally, we have planned to align the metadata profile in order to be in line with the arrangements of the regulation, because the regulation establishes that the high value data sets are to be documented, such as also in the metadata, in order to let the user to know which data are higher value data sets, which data are dynamic data, and so on. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Antonio. So your presentation confirms that for some reason, also in this case, DYDAS platform has been released just in time for the 3 years plan.
I can add information.
Yes, please.
Around the guidelines, we organized two webinar series in the last years. And we have organized a new webinar series in that
31st, right?
Have started 2 days ago. And we have invited the DYDAS project team to present their experience in the next webinar that will be held the next Tuesday on 31st January.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. For us, it's very important to show how the platform can help the implementation. As we said with Mr. Bodenkamp, it's very important for us to show how DYDAS can help the implementation of the PSI directive. Let's call it PSI directive, and also to help to share high value data, open data, as we said. So thank you for the opportunity, and also I hope that now also with a policy framework completed somehow, because yes, sometimes the roadmap of the implementation of policies is not very predictable, or at least you know there are some processes that are maybe longer than expected, but now that they are completed from the policy framework point of view, I think we can keep collaborating, and as I said already to Mr. Bodenkamp, we give plenty availability of the platform for free to be used for this purpose. Okay, so we go just in the main to the main actor now in terms of implementation. Yeah, Mr. Colaiacovo, that is the General Director of the Department for Innovation, Technology and Innovation of the City of Rome. Thank you, Mr. Colaiacovo, for joining the event.
Okay. I will say thank you for my presence here today, because since when I started in this role in Roma Capitale, I found the need to have attention on the open data policy that was built in the years. Considering the words of two interventions, I must say a few things. The first one is we need a new regulation to boost the open data policies, because we can say the needs of the market, the needs of the citizens, and I must say the needs of the administration. A good data management policy for the decision makers of the municipality, a good data management policy is the base to build a good open data policy for the world. This is the first thing that we are considering in our work. The second one is the change of the technologies. I found open data publication building a old-fashioned. So we must work a lot on the metadata. So we are working on the recognition and the analysis of the data that we must manage and we want use for internal use for our decision makers and for external use for the market and the citizens. So the process that Mr. Rotundo presented is important for us in all the stages, starting from the recognition and then in the analysis and so on. And the third thing that I want to say is the importance of the work of DGCOM and AgID in these days for us, because we are working in a deep evaluation of our technologies. We decided to change our technologies for data management, and in the next months we will publish tenders for a complete re-engineering of the data management system for Rome. So we will follow and we will pay attention on the work of DGCOM and AgID in order to be compliant next year, but more important, we have a deadline, an important deadline here in Rome. That we will cope in the right way the needs of the city for the Jubileo of 2025. So we have a couple of years that we must use in the best way in the open data, more than in other themes.
So big challenge ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Roma Capitale made a lot of progress in the past 10 years about open data. So I think we are ready to face this challenge. And yeah, there is the need to look at the technologies, and also is a dynamic environment. If we think, for instance, something everybody's talking about ChatGPT, that is one of the main topic at the moment, about AI, that is one of the components of the open data and
sure,
and functions that can help to process them.
Sure.
Process data.
The artificial intelligence is a component of this kind of environments that will play the most important role in the big data management. We must say that as a public administration, we will have strict constraints in the use of AI, but we are working hard with our GDPR department and cybersecurity department in order to have policies and in order to manage in the right way this kind of data that
big topics. We're talking about big topics.
It's very difficult to understand where is the border.
The complexity.
And,
yeah. Thank you anyway for giving us this perspective, and of course everything will lead to a more innovative capital for Rome, to be a more innovative city, and to help the famous topic of smart city that is based on also as a concept on sharing knowledge, open data and information. So I think Rome can face the challenge very well. So I would like to go to the next session that is more, let's say, practical in terms of talking about real cases. And so we're going to talk, and is always connected to the topics we just discussed. We talk about the social impact of open data. So, Mr. Colaiacovo, you want to stay with us if you can? It's a pleasure for us. So we can add maybe some more chair, and I ask to join us here. In presence, we have Carlo Cafarotti, and we have Fabio Nussio. So we can start the round table. Okay, grazie. And I call here also my colleague Iulian Coltea that can help us to better understand how the platform works without presentation. So we will know. Okay. And also we have in remote Antonio Filigrana from engineering, from the project Spotted. And also we have Paolo Merialdo from University of Roma 3, Department of Engineering. Ciao Antonio, good morning.
Good morning, ciao a tutti, buongiorno.
And we have also...
Mi sentite?
Sì, yeah. We have also Paolo Merialdo is connected. Okay, we'll see in a bit. Also, I don't know if there are, we invited also some members from our advisory board, the external advisory board of the project. Cristian Benelli, Francesco Benevolo, Carlo Brandini, and Riccardo Paone. Okay, Paolo Merialdo is there, I can see him. Sorry, we muted everybody because we had some issues, as you maybe have seen. So we need to start to allow all the participants for the. Okay. Maybe Francesco is one of the speakers. One of the, yeah. Ah, no. Okay. So. Okay. So we can start anyway, and then the other attendees can join us. So it's a very important. It's like the core talk about DYDAS now. We didn't talk too much about how the platform works in terms of how the data sets are published by a user, for instance, how the data sets are harvested by the open data portal of the Italian government, from AgID. And I'd like to ask these questions to my colleague Iulian, that explained already many times, but we need to refresh the concept.
DYDAS, it's a platform that allows you mainly to share the data, specifically geographical data, using interfaces or APIs that allows you to integrate your own platforms to exchange data with DYDAS or upload your own data sets in pretty much every commonly used format regarding the geographical standards, OGC standard or external API integration, and allows you to use those data in, as Gianluca told at the beginning, in a uniform way. So you don't need to transform your data, adapt it to make it possible to analyze different data sets that have different formats. You just have to upload the data. The data will be brought up to a common format, and then you can do your processing onto the platform directly using any common standard that you find easier to apply for your analysis. Besides that, some integrations were already performed with DYDAS. For example, we used the context broker to make it possible to exchange data through NGSI standard that is becoming quite common. Was implemented by Fireware through the context broker. And you can use that standard to exchange data with the platform. Okay. For regarding the metadata, we integrated actually the metadata of the data sets that we produced during the action with the European Data Portal by integrating with AgID, the Open Data Portal. This task was quite straightforward, but has its own importance in sharing new data set at the national level and both at an European level as well, of course.
Okay, thank you very much. And this was also important to understand that DYDAS will be a tool to feed the open data portal, the European data portal, through the national data portal, because sorry, just to tell to people that don't know very strictly how dataset works, the dataset needs to be compliant with the metadata requirements. This is right? Can we explain to no technical people? Sorry.
So the importance of the metadata, it's actually relevant when you have lots of data available. The open data community actually have a real problem with defining quality of the data sets, and on the other side, the defining quality for the metadata. The metadata of the data sets is actually the description and the explanation of what kind of information a data set contains. So everything around the metadata, the importance of following standards that are implemented by AgID for the national portal, by European Data Portal, as well with the MQA process, allows you to ensure that when you communicate a data set, you don't give only the information contained, but you also explain and contextualize that data. And that is fundamental in a world where open data actually is often redundant. It doesn't contain precise information. You have to know that, of course. There are lots of data that isn't organized. So often it's unusable if you have like 10 billions informations on something, but it's not organized, it's not readable easily, you cannot use it then. it's more work to try to adapt to that data. It's easier to create it yourself.
Yeah, so we went into the detail of complexity of data. And thank you, Iulian, and sorry for this little change about the program, but it was important to give to everybody an idea about, you know, the working of the platform. Okay, so we have Antonio that is a project, another project, is part of another project funded by CF program, the project Spotted, and we would like also to exchange with Antonio some hints about how to share open data, but also his experience in the ongoing project Spotted. So please, Antonio.
So thanks a lot for inviting me, first of all. Antonio Filograna from Engineering Informatica, one of the biggest digital transformation company in Italy. We are partners of another CIF project named Spotted that deals with the supporting of public administration in the management of green areas. So we have a well-defined domain, and we want to support the policymaker in the analysis of the data, exploiting what we are talking about, the height value dataset. So dataset coming from geospatial, earth observation, and environment. And I think that there are a lot of synergies between Spotted and DYDAS, starting from what DYDAS makes available. So in particular the data sets, but also algorithms and infrastructure. So Spotted project now is running in a few weeks the first experimentation, and I think that we can also use the output of DYDAS in order to integrate and use the data set you made available through your project. I would like to say that there is a lot of work to do according to the or in terms of open data portals, open data sets. From a statistical point of view, in Spain, for example, in the last 2 years, 13% of open data portals disappears. More or less 5% has no open license, and there is more than the 80% lack of geolocalization and lack of standardization. And this is in line with what Iulian said, the importance of the data, the metadata and the data model in the adoption of data model for the data set, because it's important to understand on what we are talking about and to be in the same line when we talk about data. And one of the key points is that we can collect a lot of raw data, and this must be open and food for data scientists. But after the analysis, what is important and what the policymaker wants to have is the information behind this raw data that must be communicated to the policymaker, and we can have or think to a business model and exploitation of the solution that should be based on this information. So when we talk about open, and sometimes the public administration are not very, they don't ever want to provide each data as public, but we need to understand that the raw data must be public. On top of that, we can provide information by analyzing this data, also thanks to the tools made available by project at DYDAS.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Antonio. And yeah, I agree with you. And actually, on open data, there is still some uncertainty sometimes, depending on targets and targets or sectors you refer to. And I think also about cities, there is a lot of, there is a big need to build the capacity from all the structure of the city, so offices and so on, dealing with data, to have clear which are the requirements to make the data open and so available for everybody with a clear set of information behind. So that's why we invited Mr. Colaiacovo, that of course gave already his contribution, but also Carlo Cafarotti to help us to understand better which could be the which could be the roadmap to achieve this this goal, and also to apply what you just said, Antonio, about the city's policies for open data. So, okay, Carlo, I leave you the floor.
Thank you, Valeria. Well, I'm here to testify how the importance of having a data platform in the local government. I was deputy of economic development, tourism and labor in Rome in the period since 2018 to 2021, and I strongly wanted to have a data platform in my policy making duty. So this is my contribution to the discussion. I'd like to switch in Italian, if you don't mind. Ok, great. Sappiamo che gli enti locali e le città hanno una serie di compiti e di oneri in cui devono svolgere decisioni, regolamentazione piuttosto che atti per appunto fornire dei servizi alla cittadinanza. Chiaramente ne ho elencati giusto alcuni. Ci tengo a dire che recenti studi mostrano come entro il 2030 circa il 60% della popolazione vivrà in realtà urbanizzate, quindi aumentando di fatto i numeri, perché le città sono dei grandi generatori di numeri. In questo, diciamo, i dati ci devono e ci possono aiutare. L'integrazione dei dati che nella mia esperienza diciamo, ho cercato, ho creato, andava di pari passo con quella che era la pianificazione strategica che abbiamo svolto nello specifico per quello che riguarda la filiera agroalimentare, per quello che riguarda il business ICT e per quello che riguarda il turismo. E sono tutti diciamo temi, argomenti, topic in cui c'è una quantità di dati enorme. Pensate solo alle presenze turistiche, tanto per dirne una, facilmente rilevabile ad esempio dalle reti di fonia mobile. Questo scenario che abbiamo davanti, diciamo, è detto in più e più pubblicazioni, ormai è solo un approccio data driven che può aiutare il policy maker a fare scelte che siano efficaci. Chiedo scusa per il labeling italiano nella figura, poi avremo modo di ritradurlo. Avere un approccio data driven, prima cosa, diciamo, il prerequisito è avere i dati. Dati che possono essere generati in vari topic, in vari scenari e da varie fonti, per cui, e qui diciamo il link con il progetto DYDAS, le integrazioni di dati e la loro, diciamo, successiva pubblicazione in open data sono qualcosa che a livello di policy making è fondamentale, ma è evidente che per il decision maker è necessario avere un data lake della città, ancorché pubblicato in open data o no. Per questo, come ho detto, diciamo, ho fortemente voluto almeno un prototipo. Nel 2020 facemmo questo prototipo, avevamo disegnato, diciamo, tutti i link tra le varie sorgenti e poi ne abbiamo alcune implementate e collegate realmente, diciamo, qui ne sono riportate una serie. Le applicazioni sono state varie in realtà. Nell'attività di governo locale, questa è la dashboard, alcune schermate della dashboard di allora, dove appunto diciamo abbiamo visto e potevamo graficare dati quali quantitativi e nella loro evoluzione sia temporale che spaziale. Badate, questo esercizio non è stato vano perché ci ha supportato in alcune scelte e soprattutto è capitato in concomitanza con l'emergenza pandemica. E ricordo uno dei lavori su come dividere gli slot di tempo di apertura degli esercizi commerciali, ad esempio per evitare congestione nei mezzi pubblici di trasporto. Quindi diciamo, tutte decisioni che sono state prese sulla base dei dati. Chiaramente questo prototipo non credo sia più in essere, anzi in realtà non è più in essere nell'amministrazione, ma il lavoro, diciamo, è stato fatto e può essere riutilizzato, ovvero migrato in altre piattaforme. Chiudo il mio brevissimo intervento dicendo che cosa? Dicendo che per un policy maker, questa è un po' la testimonianza che volevo portare, è necessario quello che ho definito l'approccio 3D, in realtà è in inglese 3D, detect, quindi rilevare i fenomeni. Rilevare i fenomeni non può che passare per avere una piattaforma di analisi dei dati e quindi a monte una rilevazione dei dati. E diciamo è possibile indagare fenomeni che si conoscono e quindi se li conosci puoi farti delle dashboard, dei grafici, dei report conosciuti, ma se è qualcosa che è underneath, sottostante e che non conosci, hai bisogno di fare data mining su quel set di dati. Una volta fatta l'analisi puoi decidere, e decidere vuol dire prendere appunto le decisioni, gli atti, la regolamentazione e quant'altro l'ente locale, qualunque esso sia, deve prendere, e soprattutto alla fine non è secondario difendere la decisione, perché le decisioni prese sulla base di credenze, sulla base di convinzioni, di pregiudizio che altre sono indifendibili dal punto di vista, come dire, semantico e sostanziale nei confronti della comunità. Difendere vuol dire capire su quale base è stata presa quella decisione. E questo è possibile solo e soltanto, e qui diciamo chiudo e secondo me il link con il progetto che state portando avanti e di cui mi complimento e vi ringrazio dell'invito, è avere prima di tutto come enti locali una data strategy, che non è scontato e che spesso la pubblica amministrazione non ha, perché a volte alcune amministrazioni non sanno di essere generatori di dati, e secondo, su quella data strategy avere in esercizio una data platform che sia performante, interfacciabile e quant'altro. Spero di essere stato veloce. Grazie.
Come DYDAS, quindi. Scusate, passo all'italiano perché mi sembra che siamo rimasti tutti nazionali e ruspanti, quindi passo all'italiano. Grazie Carlo, veramente interessante. Prego. Sì, altrimenti non ci sentono dalla Zoom, per questo serve il microfono.
Ho chiesto perché il mio intervento sarà particolarmente utile dopo l'ultimo. Allora, l'esperienza della data platform è un'esperienza che naturalmente io ho trovato lo scorso anno quando sono arrivato al Dipartimento e che sin dall'inizio abbiamo considerato molto importante. Il problema della data strategy, l'avevo accennato prima en passant, è un problema che dobbiamo affrontare in modo corposo. Diciamo, il lavoro che è stato fatto con la data platform è un lavoro che mi ha consentito di non dover spiegare il problema all'interno dell'amministrazione, nel senso che al di là dei risultati tecnici che onestamente non potevano andare oltre quelli che ci sono stati per i tempi in cui che ci sono stati per svilupparla, certo, e per le difficoltà che ci sono all'interno di un'organizzazione molto complessa. Quando si vede una slide in cui c'è agricoltura, trasporti, rifiuti,
sono dipartimenti e dipartimenti da coinvolgere,
dipartimenti e dipartimenti municipalizzate, quindi in house, quindi organizzazioni indipendenti o non diciamo non integrate all'interno dell'amministrazione. Quindi il lavoro che è stato fatto, cioè più di quello non si poteva fare, e il nostro intendimento è stato di capitalizzare il più possibile quel lavoro in modo da non reinventare la ruota ogni volta e diciamo con l'idea di sfruttare appunto al di là dell'aspetto tecnologico, perché quando c'è una politica, una strategia di gestione dei dati condivisa dall'amministrazione, il problema tecnologico è grande ma si affronta. Quando si ha a disposizione una gran bella tecnologia ma non c'è la cultura della data management con la tecnologia,
capacity
quella non si risolve.
Capacity building alla fine.
Esatto.
Che
e l'ultima cosa, un nostro intendimento è di sviluppare su quella tecnologia e su quel modello. Per ora non abbiamo deciso di cambiarla, abbiamo deciso di andare avanti con quella tecnologia. Naturalmente il mondo delle tecnologie cambia, potremmo cambiare idea anche su questo, però sfruttare la data platform come tecnologia o comunque come modello, come strumento di fornitura di open data, cosa che in questo momento al Comune di Roma non è, perché la pubblicazione avviene con la tecnologia tradizionale che preesistente alla data platform. Quindi spero le faccia piacere sapere che il seme stiamo cercando di, anzi la piantina stiamo cercando di alimentarla e farla crescere secondo le linee che erano state poi globalmente già definite.
Grazie mille. Sì, assolutamente, infatti non per niente abbiamo poi fra i nostri membri dell'advisory board più attivi e anche diciamo come anche braccio operativo proprio che mette in pratica insomma quello di cui stavamo proprio parlando, cioè chi poi alla fine prende i dati e li mette al servizio. Abbiamo Fabio Nussio di Roma Servizi per la Mobilità. Prego Fabio.
Grazie, vabbè, a questo punto parlo anch'io in italiano, tanto sì, ok, vi ringrazio molto il progetto DYDAS per l'invito, è perfetto parlare dopo Colaiacovo e Cafarotti, non poteva andare meglio, nel senso che si è parlato di una data strategy e di una platform sottostante, quindi questo è esattamente quello che stiamo cercando di fare. Poi con successo o meno successo lo giudicherete voi, però questo è quello che stiamo disperatamente cercando di fare. E dov'è la strategia, la prossima? Così va, c'è la presentazione, la uso? Ah, è questo l'oggetto, ok. C'è l'oggetto, va. Questa, ok, vediamo un po' se funziona. Sì, noi abbiamo, come sapete, a Roma un sacco di problemi con i trasporti, non è utile che ve li racconto, siamo in una sessione, diciamo, ruspante, quindi si possono raccontare tranquillamente. E soprattutto abbiamo un numero di macchine per abitante che è incredibile, supera. Se voi pensate una cosa solo interessante, adesso questa l'ha detto all'assessore, quindi la posso ripetere tranquillamente, 1.300.000 patenti, 2 milioni e mezzo di autovetture, cioè fra autovetture, due ruote e mezzi per la logistica siamo a 2 milioni e mezzo, quindi 2 mezzi per uno, insomma, quindi, che è perfetto, insomma, quindi abbiamo un problema, evidentemente abbiamo un problema quando poi pensate che la città è aperta 7 giorni perché poi c'è il Vaticano, ci sono gli eventi, sempre la città lavora sempre, il turismo e tutto, e siamo soggetti a un evento speciale che ci sta arrivando, che si chiama Giubileo del 2025, e peraltro abbiamo presentato pure la candidatura per Roma 2030, quindi per l'S.p.A. Quindi ci sta per arrivare sulla testa qualcosa di importante. I fondi sono stati viceversa definiti l'altro ieri, insomma, quelli della prima priorità giubilare, quindi sapete, se avete letto e sentito le ultime notizie, abbiamo avuto finalmente il primo pacchetto di impatti giubilari l'altro ieri, quindi per il 2022-2025 dovranno essere implementati. Questo grande buona fortuna a tutti, insomma, questo però la strategia c'è. La strategia c'è, è stata approvata. Cafarotti l'ho visto come assessore che mi ha supportato nell'approvare la prima versione del PUMS, che poi è stato finalizzato e approvato dal Consiglio Comunale dal Consiglio Capitolino dopo tutti i vari passaggi al 22 febbraio del 2022 e poi, incredibile ma vero, il 29 dicembre siamo riusciti addirittura ad adottare il piano della città metropolitana, quindi insomma siamo in linea, abbiamo fatto in tempo 2 giorni prima che ci levassero i finanziamenti per i tram e per le metro, insomma, ecco. Però no, in realtà siamo stati bravi. Dobbiamo fare che cosa? Andare verso una multimodalità, quindi la strategia c'è. Quindi gli open data dovranno aiutarci ad andare verso la multimodalità e a ridurre il numero delle auto private. Quindi migliorare il trasporto pubblico, aumentare le politiche di regolazione della domanda, e saranno durissime per i cittadini, però aumentare lo sharing, aumentare la ciclabilità, queste sono le politiche. Quindi come ci aiuteranno gli open data? Ecco, come lo vediamo? Al volo, questo è il PUMS, sono tutti gli aspetti del PUMS che vi ho descritto, i 2 più importanti che sono l'intermodalità e il trasporto pubblico, ve li cito anche al volo. Dovremmo recuperare, andare un po' meno dal privato verso i modi sostenibili. Questo è il famoso gli obiettivi di PUMS al 2030, non chiediamo la luna, chiediamo di invertire il senso della torta, mettiamola così. Dovremmo pure, e ci siamo entusiasticamente candidati e siamo uno dei partner delle 100 città, arrivare alla neutralità climatica prima del 2050 quando è previsto dall'Unione Europea, ma dovrebbe essere fra le 100 città guida che ci arrivano ipoteticamente entro il 2030, diciamo 2035, sarebbe un grande risultato per Roma arrivare a questo. Abbiamo già partecipato alla prima call, abbiamo pure vinto il primo progetto per di questa Mission Cities che si chiama Upper, che oggi proprio c'è il kick-off, e dovremmo cambiare sostanzialmente il nostro trasporto pubblico da così a così, che è una cosa che sembra pazzesca. In realtà poi se leggete i numeri delle modifiche non sono così elevate, però a Roma è difficile fare tutto, quindi partiamo con i primi tram, ce l'hanno già finanziati, adesso li dobbiamo mettere su ruota, a terra come si dice, e anche la metropolitana ce l'hanno finanziata, la CIE è finanziata fino a Farnesina, quindi dovremmo farcela prima o poi, speriamo prima. In compenso stiamo sempre più restringendo, aumentando le limitazioni per il centro storico, per l'anello ferroviario e ultimamente anche per la fascia verde. Una direttiva di novembre ha creato le limitazioni fino alla fascia verde che diventa una low emission zone, la terza zona, e quindi e tutto ciò sarà controllato da varchi elettronici, quindi attenzione a altri dati che arrivano. Quindi qui abbiamo 6 sistemi di controllo dati che sono i varchi elettronici che limitano la circolazione solo agli autorizzati all'interno del centro storico, almeno fino alle 6 del pomeriggio e anche qualche volta la notte. Nell'anello ferroviario stiamo andando verso una pollution charge. Qui andremo addirittura, in quella prima andremo anche a controllo dei varchi in uscita nel tempo, e non nel tempo chissà quando, molto velocemente, lo stiamo chiedendo nel PON 2021-27, quindi insomma molto velocemente andremo a controllare anche chi esce da queste zone, perché ci sono molte, come si dice, molte comportamenti al limite, mettiamolo così, va? E soprattutto al centro è ancora pieno di lamiere, è pieno di macchine ferme per il 95% che poi ogni tanto vengono usate, non se ne può più sinceramente. E questo è l'ultima, la 371 del 22, della delibera giunta capitolina 371-22 di novembre, che dice che viene istituita la ZTL fascia verde con limitazioni progressive fino al diesel Euro 5 nel 2024, che verrà limitato e controllato dai varchi elettronici che nel frattempo stiamo cominciando a installare. Questo perché? Perché noi purtroppo siamo in problemi di violazione della normative comunitarie sulla qualità dell'aria. quindi siamo obbligati ad andare a riduzioni sempre più massicce, ma d'altronde massicce. Londra ieri ha annunciato che il 29 agosto del 2023 la sua ULEZ, Ultra Low Emission Zone, che significa pure Euro 6 in qualche caso, si estende a tutta la città. Ieri l'ha detto, quindi noi stiamo dicendo la fascia verde, certo 1,2 milioni, loro dicono a 18 milioni, a 12 milioni di persone, quindi insomma dobbiamo fare qualcosa anche noi. Come lo facciamo? Con la centrale mobilità, che è una cosa che vi invito tutti a venire a visitare quando vorrete e volete, ce lo dite, troviamo il modo di farvela visitare, dove cerchiamo di integrare tutti i sistemi, dove abbiamo cercato, grazie ai finanziamenti, di creare un data lake e una piattaforma sottostante di scambio di informazioni. Quindi questa, abbiamo detto, la strategia, ecco dov'è la piattaforma di scambio. Perché vogliamo fare questo? Perché abbiamo creato una serie di tipologie di dati conforme agli open data. Ho già girato alla mail ai miei colleghi dicendo attenzione, c'è la nuova direttiva, adeguatevi, però cambia, perché vorremmo fare noi regolazione e controllo, previsioni, infomobilità, ma mettere anche a disposizione open data e datasets su questo indirizzo qua che trovate qui. Perché? Perché dobbiamo andare verso il MAS. Quindi dobbiamo creare sistemi capaci da interfacciare l'utente, che ci dirà: tu in macchina non me ci mandi, ma io lì come ci arrivo? Quindi dobbiamo fare in modo che si crei un'offerta quanto più parcellizzata possibile, che è in grado di raggiungere tutti gli utenti, tale che l'utente medio che deve entrare dentro la fascia verde, almeno quello, possa avere un'opportunità all'auto privata ragionevole, che non gli ci faccia mettere 2 ore per arrivare al posto e che sia integrata quanto più possibile fra tutti i sistemi, cioè quindi metro, bus, tram, ma poi ride sharing, bicicletta, car sharing, monopattino e tutto quello che è possibile creare, e poi i piedi che non fanno male. Quindi alla fine noi speriamo di avere prima del giubileo questo sistema. Ci hanno dato anche un finanziamento all'interno dei fondi PNRR che si chiama Mass for Italy. Adesso è uscito il bando sulla creazione del cosiddetto repository fund del Ministero, che dovrebbe essere il database comune da cui si attinge. Quindi la piattaforma poi dovrà andare a finire lì dentro, ma nessuno vieta a qualunque produttore di servizi di creare un sistema, di creare una rete, cioè di creare una sua alternativa. Non ve lo vietiamo, anzi fatelo. Se trovate la modalità del sistema cosiddetta disruptive technology, che crea la migliore soluzione, cui tutti i romani scendono dalla macchina e prendono la vostra soluzione, bravi. Diamo pure la medaglia, guardate, grazie dell'aiuto. E questo quindi, dati statici, dati del trasporto pubblico in real time, qualche dato di traffico, qualche cosa che è possibile dare secondo la GDPR e via dicendo, stiamo cominciando a metterli a disposizione. Abbiamo 107 dataset, speriamo di incrementarli. Dove sono i dati di traffico, dove sono i semafori, dove sono i varchi, dove è quello, dove è quell'altro. Mettiamo tutto, lo diamo a Google, lo diamo a chiunque. Perché è difficile pure comunicare, peraltro. Non è facile dire l'Euro 3 non entra, quello entra qua, quell'altro entra là. La varca è chiusa alle 5 del pomeriggio, è chiusa alle 7 del pomeriggio, riapre alle 10 di sera. E non è facile. E ovviamente la gente ci dice: ma voi volete fare le multe, volete fare i soldi con le multe? Sì, cioè, servono pure i nostri stipendi, però insomma ecco, non scherziamo, ecco, insomma, vogliamo creare anche la comunicazione giusta. Stiamo cercando una strategia di comunicazione per creare, quando arriveranno i varchi sulla fascia verde e cominceremo a fare le multe, e non dobbiamo avere 1 milione di multe, insomma, cioè dobbiamo assolutamente evitarle. Dobbiamo avere, sì, che qualcuno forzerà le cose, anzi stiamo pensando di dare, la cosa interessante di dare di dare pure, seguendo un po' l'esempio milanese, l'esempio londinese, di dare qualche giorno di proroga, di deroga. Se tu fai pochissimi chilometri e la usi per 10 giorni all'anno, e te la facciamo usare la fascia verde. Quindi trovare anche dei sistemi, come si dice, di guida all'utente. Se proprio per 10 giorni devi andare là e portare una cosa a casa tua da Ikea, non te la facciamo, non ti complichiamo la vita, ecco, insomma, cioè, cercare di essere pure un'amministrazione amica in qualche maniera, cosa difficile, ma provarci almeno. Questo e anche cercare di fare analisi, di capire cosa succede nei fenomeni, questo ci serve anche a noi, ma nessuno vieta anche a voi di farlo, di provare a capire utilizzando i dati. Adesso queste qui sono analisi per esempio per il Covid. Abbiamo visto come andava l'accesso alle metropolitane per il Covid, come quando recuperavamo i livelli precedenti. Vedete qui siamo partiti dal livello 100 a febbraio del 2020 e poi siamo arrivati, adesso questo no, questo è al contrario, mi è scalata sopra, mi è scalata. Vabbè, questa non è parte. Ah, perché questo è PDF. Ah, vabbè, si vedeva tutto all'andamento fino a dicembre 2022, dove finalmente cominciamo a recuperare i livelli delle metro precedenti. Sulla linea B no, perché? Ma perché ci mancano i treni, questo ve lo dico. Li stiamo comprando, abbiamo finalmente al 28 dicembre chiuso l'accordo con il fornitore, però i treni ci metteranno un anno a arrivare e quindi per un anno noi saremo costretti a fornire un servizio che è inferiore. Però per dire, purtroppo non è facile, tante volte si dice mancano i treni, ma aspettiamo che ce li diano, perché poi c'è stato un contenzioso, si è chiuso un precedente appalto, poi dietro un mondo c'è un mondo complicato dietro, adesso non lo devo raccontare ai miei partecipanti alla tavola rotonda, lo sanno bene meglio di me, poi purtroppo c'è un mondo che non è sempre facile, però ecco, la strategia, la piattaforma, i risultati. Chissà, speriamo di averli per il giubileo. Grazie a voi.
Grazie mille Fabio. Davvero utile il tuo intervento, anche perché diciamo si lega benissimo allo use case mobility come tema, ovviamente, che abbiamo sviluppato in DYDAS.
Ti volevo far notare come non ci siamo messi d'accordo prima. Questa è una cosa, però talvolta anche una città grande come Roma può funzionare se si basa sulla condivisione di dati, sull'attività comuni e congiunte e condivise. Quindi questo dimostra, senza averne parlato un secondo prima, come poi sui dati ci si possa parlare.
Voi non lo sapevate, ma avevamo pianificato tutto. Ok, io e Giorgio Scavino. No, grazie, quindi dicevo il tema è assolutamente in linea con lo use case che abbiamo sviluppato in DYDAS e dei dati, così invito anche chi ci ascolta o chi vorrà insomma ad andare a guardare i dataset sulla mobilità che sono stati sviluppati proprio con lo use case mobility, dove attraverso appunto l'applicazione di edge computing di cui aveva fatto già cenno, se non ricordo male, Iulian prima, è possibile appunto riuscire ad avere a visualizzare appunto in formato dataset quello che le telecamere hanno ripreso appunto durante lo use case. Io devo purtroppo solo menzionare Paolo Merialdo, che purtroppo è il professore appunto di ingegneria informatica di Roma 3 che è dovuto andare via, siamo un pochettino in ritardo, e con cui avrei voluto parlare un po' di open science, quindi come DYDAS può anche essere utile per le università e i centri di ricerca appunto sui temi dell'open science, cioè sull'open science, ma anche diciamo per rendere appunto disponibile a chiunque tutto quel patrimonio di dati che non solo le università e i centri di ricerca sviluppano, ma anche i progetti di ricerca, anche quelli appunto finanziati dalla Commissione europea, giusto per restare in tema. Ma ne parleremo forse un'altra volta. Io adesso volevo diciamo ringraziare tutti per questa tavola rotonda, vi invito comunque a restare altri 10 minuti perché ci tenevamo sia io che Giorgio Scavino a diciamo dare anche visibilità al gender data gap, che purtroppo è un elemento a volte sottovalutato, a volte non menzionato, e abbiamo oggi con noi, grazie all'associazione Donne4.0, abbiamo oggi con noi Loredana Grimaldi. Buongiorno e grazie di essere con noi, proprio per parlarci del lavoro che in Donne4.0 si sta facendo per appunto il gender data gap, che ahimè diciamo può portare a falsare un po' i risultati, o comunque anche quel processo di decision making di cui abbiamo parlato anche poco fa, e che quindi è fondamentale da tenere presente nel momento in cui vengono raccolti e organizzati i dati. E questo, diciamo, ne facciamo tesoro proprio anche con il Comune di Roma, perché è un elemento importante. Le cittadine sono il 50% o giù di lì della popolazione. Prego, Loredana.
Grazie Valeria, grazie dell'invito e dell'opportunità che abbiamo adesso di parlare un po' con voi dell'associazione Donne4.0 e del lavoro che stiamo facendo. Io sono un ambassador dell'associazione, quindi lavoro come promotrice delle nostre finalità a livello nazionale e locale su Roma, e sono anche un'esperta PNR della regione Lazio, quindi vedo anche le cose da un punto di vista della loro ricaduta a terra, sul territorio, attraverso la lente della pubblica amministrazione. Diciamo che Donne4.0, giusto per dire un attimo, visto che l'ora è tarda e non abbiamo molto tempo, è un'associazione di donne e di uomini che ha al cuore la volontà di utilizzare tecnologie digitali, ICT in particolare, per costruire una società più equilibrata e più, come dire, rispettosa della presenza di donne nella società. Sappiamo che da un punto di vista numerico e anche da un punto di vista di empowerment, nell'ambito dell'ICT le donne sono ampiamente sottorappresentate. Purtroppo anche occasioni come queste, diciamo, vedono la presenza di speaker quasi sempre uomini quando si parla di tecnologia, e questo è per noi un grande cruccio. Ed è anche un'urgenza, perché ci rendiamo conto che una società data driven, come appena l'avete descritta, una società in cui la cittadinanza è sostanzialmente anche la capacità di interagire con sistemi di tipo telematico, informatico, e comunque, diciamo, gestiti attraverso tecnologie dell'informazione, è una società che richiede alle donne di essere in grado di utilizzare queste tecnologie. Quindi abbiamo da una parte un problema di gap di competenza molto grave, perché appunto lasciando fuori le donne da questo scenario evolutivo di una società data driven avremo una penalizzazione drammatica della presenza femminile nell'economia e nella società, e dall'altra ha un gap dal punto di vista proprio della qualità del dato. Vi faccio un esempio, diciamo, ma immagino che, essendo tutti qui addetti ai lavori, sappiate benissimo quanto siano, come dire, poco puliti i dati dell'intelligenza artificiale quando lavorano appunto le grandi moli di dati che sono basati su comportamenti che vengono registrati in maniera evidentemente anche non volontaria, ma curvata sul genere. Questo accade normalmente nella sanità. Sappiamo benissimo che, diciamo, i sistemi farmaceutici fanno test sulla utilizzazione dei farmaci, quindi sugli effetti collaterali, prevalentemente su soggetti di tipo maschile. Lo sappiamo per quanto riguarda l'automotive, ci sono, come dire, studi che ci dicono che chiaramente tutti i test crash, ma anche i test di usability dei veicoli sono basati prevalentemente su utilizzatori maschili. E sappiamo anche che, ahimè, e qui veniamo un pochino a un tema appunto più vicino alle attività che stiamo svolgendo attualmente, anche il PNRR, che ha tra gli obiettivi la diciamo, chiusura del divario di genere, di fatto non sta producendo dati su questo tema. Cioè noi stiamo gestendo come Donne4.0 un osservatorio sul PNRR esattamente proprio sul tema di come gli investimenti vanno indirizzati alla chiusura di un data, diciamo, data gap e di una digital gap delle donne. Stiamo verificando con il monitoraggio costante che la macchina, diciamo, non ha previsto una rilevazione puntuale dei dati di genere sugli investimenti che sono stati erogati trasversalmente a tutte le 6 missioni. Quindi, per essere, insomma, molto sintetica, ovviamente, essendo noi un osservatorio civico, le nostre fonti sono dati aperti. Noi utilizziamo ovviamente i dataset che sono messi a disposizione su Italia Domani, utilizziamo tutti i dataset che siamo in grado, diciamo, di recuperare, ma ciò che possiamo registrare sfortunatamente è che l'elemento, diciamo, genere in questi dataset è ampiamente sottorappresentato. Quindi la questione di valutare l'impatto, ma anche di progettare, no? Cioè, parliamo di smart cities, parliamo, diciamo, di design di servizi importanti come i trasporti, vi ho ascoltato con grande attenzione. Se non c'è un'attenzione alla qualità del dato che, come dire, preveda la costruzione del dato by design con tutti gli elementi che definiscono i comportamenti dei soggetti a cui le attività devono essere destinate, avremo una società profondamente deviata, avremo delle curvature che sarà difficilissimo recuperare. Quindi per noi in questo momento è molto urgente parlare dei temi della digital data gap e del data gender gap, perché se non agiamo simultaneamente nel momento in cui stiamo per fare un balzo in avanti nell'attività di digitalizzazione della pubblica amministrazione e, diciamo, della società nel suo insieme, ci troveremo al termine del processo con un divario ancora più grande e ancora più drammaticamente diciamo, difficile da recuperare. Io ovviamente vi ringrazio, come associazione siamo a disposizione per discutere di questi temi con tutti voi. E come esperta PNRR Lazio li guardo dall'interno e faccio fatica, diciamo, purtroppo a portare a casa un risultato. Comunque è veramente importante il lavoro sugli open data, perché attraverso questi potremo effettivamente ridisegnare, diciamo, dei processi, possibilmente anche di equilibrio di genere. Grazie.
Grazie Loredana, è stato veramente importante il tuo contributo e spero che la platea di chi ci ha ascoltato, spero che sia ancora collegato anche Antonio Rotundo di AgID, possa, diciamo, avere l'occasione di mettere in pratica, comunque di tenere conto di questo aspetto che è fondamentale, insomma. Lo banalizzerei con una rappresentatività statistica, no, rispetto della rappresentatività statistica.
Partiamo con un grave gap di base, diciamo, sulla rappresentatività statistica, però c'è proprio un problema di quando si disegnano, no, i sistemi di dati. Quando tu lo disegni e non prevedi che tu debba rilevare su un certo percorso anche una differenza di genere, alla fine del percorso non avrai risultati.
No, assolutamente, sono d'accordo con te. Ti ringrazio tantissimo, ringrazio Donne4.0. Ok, allora possiamo chiudere qui la nostra tavola rotonda. Ringrazio davvero tanto tutti i vostri contributi, cioè voi che avete portato i vostri contributi. Ci avviamo verso la chiusura, quindi invito qui Marco Gatti di K2 Business e per, diciamo, fare un po' una summa, le ultime battute di questa mattinata.
Salve a tutti. Direi che abbiamo chiuso in bellezza. Che bello intervento, bellissimo.
Anche questo non è casuale, dov'è Giorgio?
Era tutto frutto di un piano.
Designato. E dunque, noi avevamo previsto, lo dico, diciamo, a titolo di informazione, avevamo previsto la celebrazione dei vincitori dell'hackathon, ma diciamo ci sono stati alcuni problemi nella valutazione, per cui abbiamo dovuto rimandare la premiazione dell'hackathon, quindi vi faremo sapere attraverso i canali del progetto. Però
diciamo che chiudiamo così, tanto con un ringraziamento e con giusto 2 parole di chiosa, no? Da uomo un po' di marketing. Vorrei chiudere con la call to action, raccontando, diciamo, secondo me dall'intervento anche di oggi, no? Emerge come il dato che tutti vedono come il nuovo petrolio, no? Si dice questa metafora che in realtà a me piace più trasporla, ne ho sentita un'altra in giro che mi piace di più, è più suggestiva, e vede il dato come un seme che si può piantare e può germogliare, chiaramente con tutte le evoluzioni dell'intelligenza artificiale, della capacità computazionale di questi ultimi anni. Il dato è diventato veramente strategico, però si parla poco di quanto sia importante condividerlo.
Sì.
Si parla poco di quanto sia importante all'interno di una filiera produttiva, ad esempio, far sì che tutti gli attori possano condividerlo con gli altri e generare molto più valore di quanto non sia possibile fare col dato fine a se stesso, e di quanto sia possibile ad esempio per le pubbliche amministrazioni fare una cosa simile mettendosi a fattor comune con i centri di ricerca,
Sì.
che sono affamati di dati per poter imparare, studiare, fare ricerche. Quindi quello che è stato detto prima, ovvero il dato, bisogna iniziare a pensare di poter essere produttori di dati, ma bisogna iniziare a pensare anche di poterli condividere.
Sì.
Mi sembra la cosa più importante, quindi diciamo, ricordiamolo, DYDAS è a disposizione per un anno
La
gratuitamente.
Esatto.
per,
Grazie e ringraziamo per questo ENEA che diciamo ci metterà continuerà a metterci a disposizione anche dopo la fine del progetto l'infrastruttura di HPC appunto per l'analisi dei dati e comunque rispetto anche a questo che appunto a questo aspetto che citavi tu, effettivamente con l'entrata in vigore della direttiva di cui ci hanno parlato oggi la DG Connect e anche AgID, effettivamente questo aspetto di condivisione dei dati dovrà essere a questo punto obbligatorio e ne parleremo, quindi per chi sarà interessato ne parleremo il 31 gennaio grazie all'invito che appunto Antonio Rotundo di AgID ci ha fatto appunto per mostrare DYDAS come buona prassi per la condivisione dei dati, quindi come piattaforma utile proprio per mettere in pratica questa direttiva. E noi appunto ribadiamo la possibilità di accedere alla nostra piattaforma dal sito di progetto www.dydas.eu dove c'è la possibilità appunto di registrarsi poi alla piattaforma e utilizzarla e quindi caricare dati eccetera.
Che dire, è stato un viaggio fantastico.
Un viaggio lungo ancora non è finito.
No, infatti abbiamo visto trasformare paper di ricerca in casi d'uso tangibili,
esatto,
che porteranno valore
e dataset anche.
Dataset. Quindi volevamo chiudere con dei ringraziamenti.
Assolutamente.
Iulian, vorrei lasciare la possibilità a Iulian
sì,
di
assolutamente.
farlo.
Lui è il protagonista
assoluto.
Esatto, della piattaforma insieme a tutto il team che è utile che menzioni tu, tutti i ragazzi
sì, ovviamente volevo chiudere diciamo con un po' di ringraziamenti a tutti gli stakeholder di questo progetto durato
3 anni.
3 anni,
e un
3 anni
po', qualche mese.
diciamo 3 anni e qualche mese, e tutti quelli che sono stati coinvolti chiaramente come partner, come advisory board, ma chiaramente soprattutto al team che ha lavorato, che ha prodotto, che ha fatto
messo in piedi la piattaforma.
Che poi la piattaforma ci sia, chiaramente. Quindi chiaramente il ringraziamento va a tutti, a tutto il team. E è stato un bel progetto.
Ok, allora direi che possiamo chiudere.
Direi di sì. Grazie a tutti.
Grazie a tutti e a presto sulla piattaforma DYDAS.